Thank you for considering Roundy Landscapes for all the needs at Suntown Homes. We will be breaking down in this presentation the areas of emphasis that have been requested to be worked on, how we will achieve them, and how we will break down the timeline of this particular project. This particular project is best broken down into three areas. Our first two areas will emphasize the entrance into the residences, and the final two areas that we will be working on will be minimizing the impact for the rest of the entire project. So, in starting in the first area, we'll do a basic walkthrough and I will talk through how we will address the needs of each area. Now, in considering here, this is all Area 1 right here. Area 1 has our introduction. It also is the transitional area into Area 2. We want to make sure that as you're coming into this residence, that there is no problem with the appearance, and we want it to be crisp and beautiful. As we move on, we want to make sure that Area 2 is also out of the way. We'll be making sure that this is gated off when we're working here to ensure that we don't have any type of accidents that we can avoid. So we will be having a minimal of 3 people per crew to verify that everything is installed well. Area 4 and Area 3, once again, each area will take about 2 weeks to install. Now, what we would like to do is to advise any particular resident within the areas we're working on when we'll be working and when we'll be expected to be finished. For example, when we're working in Area 2 or Area 1, for example, right here, if I were to be working in Area 1, while we have tractors moving, we'll have caution tape up, and whenever there's a delivery or a haul off, that can be easily removed. It will cause minimal burden to the overall resident population by breaking this down into quadrants. That way, if cars need to be moved out of the way temporarily, they can. Also, we will be posting the times we'll be working. We work between the hours of 8 and 5 normally, Monday through Saturday. Sundays, we'll leave it to the residents so they can have a little bit of peace from us. Another point which we'll be considering is drainage. Our drainage is very important. We've noticed in our walkthrough that there is some negative drainage. That means that the drainage is draining towards the homes. In those areas, we'll be adding some soil, and we will be making sure that any runoff goes to the roads and the existing driveways. There is not a need to run any particular underground drainage as far as we could see. Unless you would like to request it, that is something that we're able to do, but didn't find it necessary within the bid. The gravel that we'll be using in these areas, particularly in the entrances, we'll be using a 5-to-1 ratio. So for every 5 parts, we'll be using a 1-inch gravel, what we'll bring for a selection of your choice as our overall field color. And then we'll be using a larger cobble as emphasis. So this cobble will be used for decorative stream bed, some little splashes of color and texture. In this particular bed, we are not doing any type of additional shrubs or additional boulders. If that's required, if you would like us to add that, we can. The last area that we were considering is making sure that the irrigation is intact. By keeping the irrigation intact, we'll ensure that the shrubs that are in place, you do not lose that investment. We want to make sure that they are watered well and taken care of. None of our estimate covers anything regarding to the irrigation clocks or electrical. It is simply a way in which we will cancel any existing valve that goes to grass, and we can modify a valve here and there to make sure that it is converted into a drip line system for a xeriscape appearance. Our project should take about 8 weeks to complete. With that being the point, if we go beyond our 8-week time period, we'll absorb the cost for any type of delay when it comes to materials and overhead and operations. We would like to be working with whoever's in charge of managing this with us. If in the event that there is a rainstorm or a crazy snowstorm, which we have seen happen recently, we request to have our project extended based upon agreement. And we will use that only if needed. Most little rainstorms and a little snow flurry here and there is not a big deal. But in the recent history, we have learned that we will set a timeline on the conditions that if there is an event in weather that takes us a little bit extra time, we'd like that timeline to be amendable. While we were working at Roundy Landscapes on your project, we require a 60% down. On this particular project, we are just shy of $97,000. We are $97,900. So, for example, our first payment would be 60%. That puts us at $58,000. We require two other payments, a 20% progress payment and a 20% completion payment. So, for example, before we'd be petitioning for additional funds, we would expect to set a timeline, well, a project completion at either a completion of Area 3 or a start of Area 4, around there sounds about right. And that way we can finish out the project, and then anything else that needs to be adjusted can be paid off in the final payment, progress payment. So overall, we really look forward to working with you. We've addressed the safety issues, the installation, and the main concerns that you have. We really look forward to reducing the overall cost of maintaining this property and making it more appealing and attracting better residents. Thank you so much.